And welcome back to another CBB Talk with your boy, Will Dickinson. And as you see from the title of this video, since I've been really thinking about what I'm going to do my videos about now, so it's just this quicker thing of a title on all this shit. It's the ACC's been a big storyline this season because of the struggles. This has not been normal from the ACC, especially in the recent years, but they've been improving a lot, and they got some interesting results over the last 2 days. Plus, multiple top five-ish teams lost over Monday and Tuesday, and some other really big games. So we got to talk about all the interesting results from these last 2 days, and we're going to look back on my predictions I made, I believe. When did I make these predictions? The start of conference play, I think, sorry, it came out look super blurry, on who I think is going to win each conference. And we're going to go look back at those predictions and see how I did. So let's get into it. Let's start about Monday. Virginia absolutely embarrasses Miami 60-38. Yeah, Reese Beekman's solid game. Since Miners came into the lineup, Virginia's really been hot. I think they've won 8 in a row now. They're trending in a great direction, and this is a team I said no way would be a tournament team this year. Tony Bennett's turned it around. I shouldn't have doubted him, and Virginia's looking like they're going to head to an NCAA tournament this year. Miami, on the other hand, looking like they're not going from Final Four and not making a tournament. Doesn't happen that often. Miami might be a victim of it this year. Yeah, Virginia's playing really good basketball right now. I'm a guy who roots for Virginia. Again, I said I wasn't a Virginia fan, but I still pull for them. And it's good to see Reese Beekman's final year of college basketball playing really well, being the leader of this team. And then Ryan Dunn, man, he looks like he's gonna be a high enough NBA draft pick just because of his athleticism and his defensive capabilities. And if he can get a three ball, he could really be an impact player in the league. And Virginia's defense is, of course, great. That's slow tempo, but allowing 38 points is different. Miami, it's crazy to see. I am damn near top 10 in the preseason to not make a tournament. But shout out to Virginia. I have my eye on Virginia. I don't have them in my rankings right now, but I think they can get there. Well, but they have a tougher schedule to finish out the regular season. They still gotta go play Duke and Carolina. And then on Monday, a big upset happened. Kansas State knocks off the 4th-ranked Kansas, coming off a huge win against Houston. Kansas goes into their in-state rivals, and Kansas State takes an L, 70-75. What a shocker. Kansas State wins in overtime. That's now 11 in a row for Jerome Tang in overtime in 2 years. That's absolutely insane. Tyler Perry, 26 in this one, big game for KSU off the bench here. Again, I do not know if Kansas State's going to be an NCAA tournament team this year. This is their first win. I think they were on a 3-game losing streak. They were struggling, and they come in. This is a tough environment to play in. Kansas isn't able to get the win there. And this is a game with Furphy. I love going Johnny Furphy. Furphy struggles. And you saw Kansas get knocked off there. I still think Kansas is a very, very good team, but are they the best? I didn't have them the best in the Big 12 after they beat Houston. I got Houston ranked 3rd in the nation. I got moved Kansas down to 7th. I still think Kansas is good, and this back-to-back years they've now lost at Kansas State. And this Kansas State team isn't as good as last year's team. They're still very good. But yeah, this is a tough game. You're coming off 2 days rest, coming off a big win. Then you got to go on the road. And yes, it's not far travel, but it's still a trip nonetheless on a Monday. And Kansas couldn't get that win. And look, I don't fault Kansas for losing this game, but I thought they could have, been able to get this win. I thought they were going to, because Kansas State's an inferior opponent, and they're most likely not a tournament team this year, because the Big 12 has been so good this year that they're just not going to be able to reach that level. But shout out to Kansas State, good win. They got to keep building wins though if they want to be a tournament team. A big result, the ACC, is Clemson, who's been, I think they're still. I think they're 5-6 in ACC play, but they got a win at UNC, 80-76. It looked like UNC really just was not prepared for this game. You're coming off a win against Duke, then you gotta go play 3 days later. But at home, I expected Carolina to get the job done. Clemson gets off to a 15-2, 17-4 start. I wasn't watching. I was watching Ole Miss versus South Carolina, but I go check the score because it was about, I don't know, 5 minutes in the game or whatever. It was 17-4. I was like, geez. PJ Hall monster game. Baycott's been playing well, but these last 2 games that Baycott's been playing well, RJ hasn't as much. We didn't see an Elliott Cadeau good game, or we didn't see a Harrison Ingram hot game like we saw against Duke. And Carolina's not the deepest team there. Cormac struggled. They played some Wojciech minutes, who didn't look, was eh. And Carolina couldn't. They cut the lead. I don't know if they took the lead or they tied it, but they could never really hold on and contain Clemson. And Clemson just got off to such a good start that it was hard to come back and maintain a lead from that. Joe Girard had a very, very good game, hit some massive threes down the stretch there, and a good win for Clemson. We saw Clemson get off to such a hot start to start the year. I had, I think, like highest rank was 12 or 13th. And then they've been struggling ACC play. They're coming off a home loss to Virginia. But this is a needed game for them to have. I think this puts them back into the NCAA tournament, firmly. I would say they're around a 9 seed right now, 8 seed, and a good win. And what I was talking about the ACC is, I was considering them as a 3-bid maybe league. I think they can get the 5 now, and Wake Forest playing some really good basketball. Could we see, obviously, Duke and Carolina? I think Virginia and Clemson are making 2 good strong cases. And can a 15 get in there like like a Wake Forest or maybe an NC State? And I doubt Miami will at this point. But very good win for the Tigers here. Builds a big resume boosting win. That's going to be a great quad 1 win there. Carolina, I dropped them to number 6 in the nation. Look, this was a tough spot for them. Coming off a win against Duke, going to have to go play 3 days later. Baycott said they didn't have a good practice. They weren't focused, which is believable. I think Carolina will be okay, but you don't want to lose home games. This is their first home loss, I believe, of the season. They suffered there. And Clemson came in, got their second ever win on the road at Carolina. So shout out to the Tigers here, and a huge win to stop the bleeding. Ole Miss couldn't overcome the hot Gamecocks as South Carolina picks up their 20th win of the year, 68-65. The freshman Murray Bowles had a huge game, 16 there. Michi Johnson had some good moments there. BJ Mack, Cooper. This is a good South Carolina team. From a team that was projected last in the SEC, is now 1 game back or a half game back of first. It's really impressive. 20-3. I think they're a solidified NCAA tournament team. The metrics aren't great, but who cares? The result metrics are amazing. At some point, I think you got to look past the computer numbers and see how is this team really playing on the court. And they're playing really, really well. Lamont Parrish has done an amazing job in year 2, turning his team around from the bottom of the SEC to the top of the SEC. South Carolina, look, they got off to a good start. They played easy competition. They took that loss to Clemson, and now they've only had 2 league losses. They got a road win against Tennessee and Georgia last week. They come back home and beat a very good Ole Miss squad. Ole Miss made it a game at the end. South Carolina didn't have the best second half, but they got the stops when they needed. Got to the line, made free throws, and shout out to South Carolina. One of the best stories this year of college basketball. Definitely up for Coach of the Year is Lamont Parrish. I got South Carolina ranked 14th in the nation there, 15th in the poll. They're very high in KPI or strength of record, stuff like that. They're high in result-based metrics, a little lower in the KenPoms and nets. But I really like South Carolina, and they can win the SEC, man. We'll see how Alabama fares tonight against Auburn. That's a big game for the top of the SEC race. Of course, you have Tennessee as well. But man, South Carolina's playing really good ball, and they're about to get to their second tournament, or their first tournament since their Final Four run in 2017. And this is a school that does not make the NCAA tournament regularly. Shout out to them. Not too worried about Ole Miss. Yeah, I didn't have them ranked. I still think Ole Miss will be a tournament team, but they don't have great numbers and they don't have a lot of amazing wins. They have a good record, so they're gonna have to maintain home wins if they want to be in the NCAA tournament. But hopefully, we don't get to a situation where they're gonna have to win multiple games in the SEC tournament to be in the NCAA tournament, which is the goal, of course, of every team, every program. That goes into college basketball. That has aspirations of making a tournament. Houston, easy win against Oklahoma State, so not really much of a story. But sorry, God, why is my camera so blurry? I don't know. But Kelvin Sampson did get ejected in this one. Was not happy with the coaching staff. Ran all the way onto the court. It was a very, very, very interesting scene or whatever. Didn't expect that, but Houston got a win there. He didn't want to comment on it. The refs, apparently he was just not liking the refs there, but they were up 20, got an easy win there. Jamal Shed 23. Houston's still my favorite in the Big 12. You really just can't win on the road now in Fields. Another Big 12 news. Oklahoma takes down BYU. The Big 12 is a gauntlet. This Big 12 tournament is going to be must-watch TV because pretty much every game, besides like games against West Virginia and Oklahoma State, are just going to be bangers. They're just going to be bangers. And Oklahoma BYU could be a first-round matchup that determines a lot. I was fading Oklahoma, but they got a nice 16-point comfortable victory. Javin McCollum had a good game there. BYU did not hit that many threes, and they're a team that relies on the three ball. They score only 66 in this one after being tied at half. Only scored 32 in the second half there. I had BYU ranked. I moved them out. That means Indiana State is into my top 25 at 23 for the first time all season. Shout to the Sycamores. Shout out to the Sycamores of Iowa State. Dayton, easy win. Didn't need a big game from DeRon Holmes, but maybe people thought St. Joe's would be an interesting game on the road. It wasn't. Dayton cruises. I got Dayton ranked 11th in the country. The Flyers are hot. They're rolling, and they're legit. Iowa State beats Texas. Is the weirdest team. They just are not a good home team. They beat Baylor at home, but they lost a lot of home games this year. But they win the road games in the Big 12. I don't understand Texas at all. Tyrese Hunter against his former team put up a nice 0 points. Good game from Dylan DeSoe at 28. Didn't matter. Iowa State beat you as a team. I have Iowa State ranked 13th in the nation there. I couldn't really move them up there. Texas is a weird team. I think Texas will end up making the NCAA tournament. Probably as like a 10 seed. And they could beat practically anyone in the nation, but they're weird. They are very bipolar. And I'm not going to be picking them to win because this whole horns down thing is interesting. They got a nice road win against TCU. Then you can't come back and defend home court there against Iowa State. And Iowa State proven to be legit there after, suffering a loss last week this weekend. They come back and beat Texas there. So going at Baylor at Texas, you split them. Can't be too mad about that if you're the Cyclones. UConn survives a scare from Butler. UConn, good game. Cam Spencer 20, good game from Klingon. Butler, I think Butler's very good. I think they're gonna be around that bubble with Seton Hall and Providence in the Big East. I believe out of those three teams, I think one makes it, and I think one of those three will make it guaranteed, and maybe two. And they kept UConn close, but UConn proves to be the best team in the nation until they lose. I can't put Purdue over them, even though Purdue has a better resume, I will admit. New Mexico, you're back in my top 25, ranked at 25 after a loss from Utah State that we get to in a little bit, but they handle business there. DeMario Dent, 19, and a road win over Wyoming. Kentucky, they have an NBA offense, 109 points there. Antonio Reeves, good one. Rob Dillingham, 20 off the bench. Will he ever start is the question. Colorado State, you're back on my radar. You're now on a multi-game win streak. You get a nice, easy win over Boise State. Boise State going to be around that bubble this year. Isaiah Stevens, 16 points in this one, but it was really a team effort. Colorado State looking better, man. I got them really close to being my top 25 again. They went through a little rough patch, but they're one game back of the top of the Mountain West standings. I think Boise State's still technically tied for the top. I think it's a four-way tie there. And we had another big result in the Mountain West that we can just talk about right now. Nevada goes on the road and beats Utah State. Davidson, 25-10. Ian Martinez had 16. Great Osborne didn't have an amazing game for Utah State, and that was probably a reason they lost. Got off to a bad start, and that's going to knock Utah State out of my rankings. They still have a really good record in 19-4. I just do not know if they have the talent. And they got good numbers. They do. They're a good team. I really do. I had them really close to the top 10 just 2 weeks ago, but they're now on a 2-game losing streak and losing a home one, their first home loss of the year to Nevada. And Nevada's a good team. The Wolfpack there trying to make an NCAA tournament once again. I think they have the talent to do so. I dropped Utah State out. They're so close, but the Mountain West is tough because I have San Diego State ranked. I have New Mexico ranked. Utah State, Colorado State just there. Nevada. The Mountain West, I think, is going to be a 5 or 6 bid league. But Utah State, you got to keep winning games because you don't have the talent and name recognition as I think San Diego State does or Colorado State does. So you're going to have to win home games, and you couldn't do that here. So tough result. Baylor beat Texas Tech. Baylor's back to being a hot team now on a 3-game home win streak there. Ray J. Dennis had 21 in this one. And Yves Misi had a really good game. Jacoby Walter, not playing his best basketball season, but still playing solid here. Texas Tech now on a little losing streak. I think that's a 3-game streak for Texas Tech there. I had them out of my top 25 already going into this game. I'm not fading Texas Tech, but their defense has not been good. They've given up 75 points in I think 5 or 6 straight games. So that's going to be a problem. Grant McCasland is usually known for his defense, and they haven't been this year. Baylor, very good win. This keeps building, proving that, maybe I'm a little low in Baylor with 18th in the country here, but I can't have them over Bama. I can't have them over Auburn, South Carolina, Iowa State, Wisconsin. These are all teams, Dayton, FAU. These are all teams I think are better than Baylor. But that's a really good win there, and they're going to have plenty of opportunities to prove how good they are, and especially this weekend because guess what? They're going to Allen Fieldhouse to play Kansas. That's going to be a great game there. Baylor coming off 3 wins in a row. Kansas coming off a loss. If they can pull off that upset, man, that'll prove that they are legit. So I'm gonna go pull up this doc on who were my mid-year conference predictions. I already pulled it up. I'll share my screen. Let's do this thing. Compare. Wait a sec. Actually, I'm going to pause my recording because I'm gonna set it up real quick. All right, let's check out my preseason predictions. And then we can talk about, because they're right here, my preseason predictions right here. We got to check them out. Let's look at the ACC first. I had Duke winning the conference, UNC finishing second, Clemson third. My honorable mentions were Miami and Wake. So that was pretty much my top 5. Miami's looking rough there. Wake could finish 5th. These 3, solid, but I was sleeping on Virginia. I really was. I didn't believe in them. They were looking really rough on the road. Now they've won some road games. They're playing really good basketball. Of course, the defense looking good. And then UNC, I thought, I've been high on Duke all year. And Duke could still win this conference. Look, if they, of course, we're in the regular season finale against Carolina. They beat Virginia. Duke could definitely finish top of the ACC, right? They're only 1 game back. But UNC right now is still probably the favorite in my eyes to win that conference. But I mean, it could come down to that last week of the regular season. In the Big Ten, I had Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, and then Michigan State and Ohio State. Oh, the Ohio State's one is looking it's looking terrible. I think they're tied for last. They've fallen off the deep end for 2 years in a row there. Chris Holtman, I think his job could be in jeopardy. I still think he's a good coach, but watch out. Michigan State, they lost to Minnesota last night. Minnesota, actually, they're sitting 5th right now. Maybe could be an NCAA tournament team this season. Michigan State, man, they're in real jeopardy. They've made it 23 straight years. I think 23. This could be the year they miss. You can't lose games in Minnesota, and that's a quad 2 loss. Maybe it will move up to quad 1. But they got to win games. They have 9 losses now. They can't afford more than like 2 or 3 if they want to be in the NCAA tournament. And then my top 3 looking pretty freaking good. Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin. That's how I have them ranked right now. I think Wisconsin's still second, Illinois is third, or maybe they're tied. But I think Illinois will get there, and especially getting Terrence Shannon back, that's huge for the Illini there. So I would say that's pretty solid there, but the honorable mentions were missed. The Big 12, I had Kansas, Houston, Texas. My honorable mentions were Baylor, BYU, and Iowa State. The Texas is a miss. I was a believer in Texas. Still, I knew they didn't get to a great non-con, but I believe in them during conference play. They have enough experience to get it there. I've been wrong. I mean, sleeping on Baylor was a problem. Baylor's that third team, but I mean Iowa State. They weren't as highly talented. I don't even know if they were ranked at the time I made this. I think I made this at the beginning of the new year. So like mid-year conference predictions, what I wrote it down as. So I don't know when I really made this. I think it's been over a month at this point. BYU, probably not going to be there. They're just not going to be there. But Iowa State, not a bad prediction there. But they would probably be higher. Baylor would be higher. But BYU, not too bad. Texas Tech, I didn't really consider, and they're kind of fading at the moment. So the first two right now look pretty good. Kansas or Houston, and both of those can win the conference. The Big East. Marquette, UConn, Providence, honorable mentions Nova, and Creighton. This is before Bryce Hopkins got injured, so I can't knock my Providence pick because it's honestly not that bad. It's not that bad at all. Of course, a B opposite here, probably the season becomes a different story. But yeah, sleeping on UConn's the problem. They're probably winning this game by multiple wins. Marquette, though, is playing really good basketball. I think I moved Marquette in my top 5. Marquette's now 5th in my ranking, so I'm back on Marquette. And then Nova, swing and miss there. Creighton, not too bad. They're definitely the 4th. They might be the 3rd best team in that conference. Damn. Who else could I put? St. John's, nah. Butler, maybe, or Seton Hall, but I was no way predicting any of those. So it's not a bad prediction there, but not having UConn 1 is a real miss. In the SEC, Kentucky 1, Tennessee 2, Bama 3, Auburn 4. Well, Auburn and A&M are all honorable mentions. A&M. I mean, obviously, I didn't have South Carolina here, and if I did, maybe I would look like a genius, but I didn't, or maybe you thought I was cheating. I'm not. This is my honest predictions. You can probably go back and go to the episode. Kentucky won. I've been so high on Kentucky all year, and they've let me down. Right now, I think Bama's the favorite. Bama, Tennessee, Auburn, and South Carolina with Kentucky at a 5th slot right now. But not too bad. Tennessee would probably be my number 1 if I had to start now. But Bama could be right up there. So I was high on Bama. They didn't have a great record at this point in the year, but I believed in them, and they got to that moment. And Auburn, pretty good prediction there. They weren't. I don't even know if they were ranked at the time, but A&M, it's a tough look. And the Pac-12, I didn't do the Mountain West. I should have done the Mountain West when I did this. Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Oregon. No Washington State's the real glarer there. Washington State is playing really good basketball, and maybe they're the 2nd best team because goddamn, the Pac-12 sucks. But Arizona won. At least I'm a smart man there. So let's go preview some games for the next 2 days before wrap it up. Not too much to talk about on the Wednesday episodes. Usually the Wednesday episodes are a little calmer. So let's get into it. Tonight, we got the best game is on ESPN2. Why is it on ESPN? What's on ESPN? Maybe NBA or something. It must be NBA that's on ESPN. Yeah, I think NBA is on ESPN then. Bama at Auburn. We got the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl, but it's basketball. 2 top 25 teams, 2 top like 10 teams, 5 teams in the net. So 2 of the best computer teams in the country here facing off. I got Auburn ranked 16th, and I got Alabama 17th. Or no, I have Auburn 15th, Alabama 17th in my rankings. So I'm a little lower on both these teams. I think Alabama's a more talented team. Auburn's a really deep team, and it's at home, Neville Arena. I think I think the Tigers pull it off at home. One of the best home atmospheres in the country, and I believe the Tigers will get a win there. Bruce Pearl's team is playing really good. John A. Broom is going to be the matchup problem over there for Alabama, but Mark Shears has been just as good, even probably better as a star. Villanova Xavier, panic game for Villanova, get a road win. They'll need a big game from Eric Dixon, just like I do in my parlay. Wisconsin's at the Wolverines. Wisconsin just don't lose. Michigan's terrible. Sorry. Let's see. Man, there really isn't that much. Crane's at Providence. This game probably won't be on most TVs. FS2. I don't think I get FS2 on YouTube TV. That's an interesting game there. Providence, they've been playing a little better recent. Def Carter has taken over that B-Hot role and has become a star. Creighton, they're a very up and down team. And I don't think they've played since their loss to Butler. So we'll see how they can come back from that. They've had a good amount of rest. There's about 5 days rest. But the Dunk is not an easy place to play, so I'm sure they're going to get problems there. I like Providence, though, to get this win. I really do. Creighton's just been too inconsistent for me, and I can't tell if Creighton's good. Well, obviously they're good, but I can't tell how good Creighton is. Like, I'm 19th. That's exactly what AP poll has them at. Duke. They play Notre Dame, expecting to get a bounce back win there. Nebraska Northwestern bubble showdown, big Big Ten showdown. Who would have ever thought these two teams were going to be in a big game? I'm telling you, I didn't. Give me North. I like Northwestern. I love Boo Buie. So I got to root for Boo Buie. How can you not root for Boo Buie? Is a better question. And then what other game? And then here on Thursday, I'm not sure if I don't even know Thursday. I knew Wednesday we had a good amount of stuff. Thursday, let's see. I'm literally just going through. Thursday is looking rough. Arizona versus Utah on the Pac-12 network. Pretty good game, honestly. Who knows? Utah may be a tournament team this year. And then really nothing else. No. Washington State's on the road. Washington State is continuing to get wins, and Oregon, Washington could be. And then FAU's on the road, so watch out for that. Besides that, yeah, Thursday's kind of weak. Thursday's kind of weak. So, good episode there. Recap some games. The ACC looking quite interesting. Reviewed my mid-year, before the conference play started, predictions, and then preview 2 days. Successful podcast. I'm starving. I'm gonna need a snack after I edit this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Friday. Probably Friday. Hopefully Friday for a weekend preview. Peace.